host of the Gridiron.
Free agency. The top options for Giants and free agency. Now we got Mr. Darius right here. Now he's one of the ones that the Giants, I don't know. I can't see. What's up, buddy? It's not one of the guys I can see. The Giants have want to pay an extended amount for Darius. Shame, but so some of the top options for the Giants in the draft. Now, obviously, here they got the top one, according to PFF anyway. They got T. Higgins. I'll tell you what, you put T. Higgins out there with Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson. Of course, you need a quarterback to throw the ball to him. But according to PFF anyway, T. Higgins would command 4 years, $28 million. So that's a large chunk of change that the Giants out of their salary cap. So, but he's the PFF. They have him number one. Trey Smith, right, the guard from Kansas City. That would be cool. But then they got Holland, the safety. Chris Godwin, another wide receiver, obviously, right? Khalil Mack, DJ Reed, Amari Cooper, Ronnie Staley, Sam Darnold. There you go. This is, according to PFF, this is and they got Josh Sweat. Their top 10 players, according to PFF. But let's see. With the East-West Shrine Bowl wrapping up on Thursday and the Senior Bowl in full swing, the focus right now is on the 2025 NFL Draft. Free agency comes first, though. And what happens there will help shape the draft for the Giants and the 31 other NFL teams. With that in mind, ESPN on Wednesday released its list of the top 50 free agents, along with some thoughts on potential landing spots and price tags. That have the number one that they have on this list here is Trey Smith from Kansas City. I wrote Wednesday morning that if the Giants want to take a big swing on an offensive line in free agency, Smith is the perfect candidate. He's still young, and he plays the position right guard that seems to currently have an opening, right? Because we had GVR there, right? GVR is a free agent. Price tag, of course, might be a little high. It would take almost about half of the Giants. Now, of course, you can give the sign-in bonus, right? Spread the sign-in bonus out. Instead of his first year paying him $20 million a year, you could drop it down to whatever, maybe 10 or something like that. So it wouldn't be quite as big of a hit. The price tag, of course, might be too high. Pro Football Focus estimates a market value of 4 years, $82 million. So about $20.5 million a year for Trey Smith as a guard. Spotrac checks in with a similar 4-year, $48 million estimated value. I guess 48.8. I guess that means guaranteed, maybe. ESPN expects the Bears to be major players for Smith. Then they got here Sam Darnold. Is not a move a favor. I guess they didn't check their spelling when they printed this up. But signing Darnold might be one of the Giants feel compelled to make. I hope to God not. PFF estimates a 3-year, $123 million deal for Darnold, $70 million guaranteed. Spotrac projects a familiar number for the Giant fans: 4 years, $160 million. Could you imagine that? The Giants signed Darnold for 4 years, $160 after just letting go Daniel Jones, who had a 4-year, $160 million. Oh my God! And could you imagine if they signed Darnold, rookie battle it out, then price tag will definitely be way too high. It will be higher than they think. I always like that too. I always like checking out because see what they think that the price tags might wind up being, and see actually what they might actually winds up the guys wind up signing for. But he's got himself a Super Bowl to play first. But I mean, could you imagine if they brought in Sam Darnold, 4 years, $160 million, and then he just starts stinking up the whole place like he did the last 2 games of the season? I mean, right? I mean, he didn't look very good against the Lions. Didn't even score a touchdown against the Lions, I don't think, right? And they scored one touchdown in the was it the playoff game? And I mean, the offensive line didn't give him any help at all. I mean, could you imagine? Oh my goodness, what a laughing stock we'd be if we had back-to-back 4-year, $160 million. Wow. They have here Ward, the cornerback, and from San Francisco. PFF believes the Giants are the best landing spot for the 28-year-old. Ward's overall body of work speaks for itself as he has posted strong 80-plus grades in 2022 and 2023. Not so much in 2024, though. The Giants' secondary desperately needs reinforcements after finishing 28th in team coverage grade last season. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen's heavy use of cover 3, making him an ideal candidate to help revitalize New York's defensive backfield. PFF's estimated market value for Ward is 3 years, $43.5 million, $25 million guaranteed. Just about like a Saquon Barkley deal, right? 3 years, right? $25 million guaranteed. That's what they offered him. Wasn't good enough, though. Let's see. Then they got, is this the other guy from? All right. Then they got Milton Williams, defensive tackle, number 16. Williams of the Eagles is a player we have discussed. PFS estimates his market value at 3 years, $63 million. Whew, wow. Hufanga, the safety. This is another player we have talked about. He's just 26, and it might fit a team like the Giants that is looking toward the future. His PFF estimated market value is 2 years, $25 million, $16 million guaranteed. Then they got the combo here. They're talking about 2 wide receivers. They're talking about Stefon Diggs, right, and Darius Slayton, right? Nowhere to go but up. You got that right. Yep. ESPN thinks Slayton could command a deal about 3 years, $39 million. Good for him. PFF estimates 37.5 with $25 million guaranteed. Diggs is 31 and coming off a torn ACL, though. PFF estimates his market value at 1 year, $16 million, with Spotrac putting the value at 1 year, $13.5 million. Would you rather have 3 years of Slayton at that cost or 1 year of Diggs? Personally, I would take the 1 year of Diggs, who had 4 straight 100 reception seasons. Yeah, but I mean, look who he was playing with. He was playing with Josh Allen. I mean, he had 4 straight 100. Let's see, how many targets did he get? So, let's see here. Stefon Diggs. Let's see. I mean, he had all that. Let's see if I got where we at here. Shows how many targets he had. I mean, probably had Malik Neighbors type targets. Let's see here. Yeah. 2020 he had 166 targets. 2021 he had 164. 2022 he had 154. And 2023 he had 160. So, I mean, obviously he had phenomenal numbers, but all 4 of those years he had over 100 receptions, all 4 of them with Josh Allen. Giants don't have Josh Allen. Wish we did, but all right. Then we got, let's see. Oh, then they talk about quarterbacks. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Which one would be available for the Giants? We also discussed this possibility recently. If the choice is Wilson for 2 years, $70 million with $40 million guaranteed, or Fields for 1 year and $11 million, all guaranteed. I think it's a no-brainer that you take Fields. Of course, which one is available is up to the Steelers. That's true. You don't know who they're going to try to sign or re-sign, shall I say. And Paulson Adebo, cornerback. ESPN says multiple teams consider Adebo a top 3 corner in the free agency class based on ability and upside. PFF sees a 3-year, $40 million contract with $25 million guaranteed for the 25-year-old. said, I wouldn't mind the Giants taking a chance on the Debo. Well, then also we got Giants have a long offseason of work to get their roster back on track, being more competitive following a massively disappointing 3-win season. Giants have some big roster holes entering the 2025 offseason. Here is an overview of some of those decisions and what fans need to know as the team navigates the offseason. Giants have some big roster holes entering the season. Here is all right. Roster needs. Quarterback, yep. Defensive line, yep. Cornerback. Offensive tackle, receiver, safety, and edge. Well, edge, I mean, you can never have too many edge rushers. They got Burnsy and they got Kayvon. They don't really have anybody behind them. So if we're talking edge, obviously you're probably talking, unless they draft something, unless they go stone cold crazy and it's just taking Carter at number 3 overall. Who knows? You can never have too many edge rushers. Realistically speaking, it's difficult for a team to fill every single roster hole, and it has in one offseason. But the good news is the Giants, according to Pro Football Focus, rank 6th in the league in terms of assets, meaning cap space and draft capital and restructure potential. Ooh. To make some significant roster improvements, not only to the offense, but to the defense, whose personnel needs to be further refined to fit that of what defensive coordinator Shane Bowen has been trying to do. In some cases, the Giants will probably double dip, adding multiple players either via a free agency, the draft, or both. Quarterback is one such position that comes to mind as a prime candidate for double dipping. Cornerback is another one. This will all depend on how the team's brass views the depth in the draft class versus the depth in the pending free agency class. But clearly, there are some positions on the Giants where more is needed than just a single player. You got that right. Now it says here they got $43.38 million total cap space, but $32 million in effective cap space. According to Over the Cap, the Giants have an effective cap space of just $32 million and a total cap space of $43.38 million. The effective cap space is the amount of room a team has to add players under the top 51 rule, which begins on the first day of the new league. The Giants are still a tad on the top-heavy side, meaning that their top 5 highest cap figures all exceed $10 million, with 3 of those 5, Burns, Sexy Dexy, and Andrew Thomas, all carrying cap figures of over $21 million, which makes them all restructure candidates once the available cap space dries up. Yeah. In terms of dead money, $22.21 million of the Giants' $27 million comes from Daniel Jones. So, with the remaining 4.9 coming from tight end Darren Waller. But in 2020, going in, after this season, as of right now, those 2 figures will be off the books. So I don't think the Giants have any dead cap money next season in 2026. So as of right now. Unrestricted free agents. So we got Pinnock, Slayton, Simmons, Locke, Scottish Hammer, GVR, Dory Jackson, Ojolari, Kreider, Manhurts, the Gunner, Olszewski, Aaron Stinney, Matthew Adams, Christopher Hubbard, Tim Boyle, Elijah Riley, Ty Summers, Armin Watts, Amir Smith Marset. I hope they re-sign that freaking guy. Patrick Johnson and Greg Stroman. Restricted free agents. None. Exclusive right free agents. Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan. Deontay Johnson, Toman Fox, and Devad Wilson. Key players entering a contract year. Aha. Interesting. And there's also potential cap casualties. Graham Gano and Nacho. Yep. So key players entering contract years. Kayvon, Evan Neal. That's going to be interesting. Micah McFadden, Cordell Flott, Wando Robinson, Jermaine Illuminor, Nacho, Dane Belton, Daniel Bellinger, Joshua Azudu, and DJ Davidson. Then they got the Giants do not need to make any salary cap related cuts as they are in good financial shape. That doesn't mean, though, that they will consider moving in from guys who aren't in the long-term plans yet and carry a high cap figure for the coming year. One player who would be a cap cut is defensive lineman Nacho, who has a $5 million cap hit. trimming Nacho, who is in the final year of his contract on the roster, would yield a $3.6 million savings with only a $1.4 million dead cap hit. This move would make most sense for the Giants, looking at a very deep defensive line class in the draft. Are widely expected to dip into the talent pool as they continue their quest to find a running mate. Yep, to plug in alongside Dexter Lawrence, because they just don't have that. Giants will likely spend a large chunk of their cap space on a veteran quarterback and a veteran cornerback, both of whom glaring roster needs. Currently with the Steelers, you got Justin Fields, Sam Darnold of the Vikings. Whew. Man, I can't see them signing Sam Darnold $40 million a year. Regardless of who the Giants bring on board to be their next quarterback, this is a position where the team will likely double dip. Yep. Regarding cornerback, DJ Reed of the Jets remains a very intriguing candidate. It could help the Giants, who hired Manuel as their defensive back coach, previously the Jets safeties coach, as their new defensive backs coach, if they intend to pursue Reed, who's coming off a 3-year, $33 million deal with the Jets. In the coming days, I'll provide a more detailed step-by-step breakdown. Who is this? Patty Trainer. The Patty Trainer? Looks like Patty Trainer. Yep, Patty Trainer. She always does a very good job. Very, very, very good, very thorough job. So I mean, the Giants, they have some, but if you check out, obviously, we don't have a quarterback on the roster, this, that, but if you check out what the Giants have in 2026 as far as cap space, they have a lot of cap space, and that, coming up now, how much of that's going to get chewed up from this year if they were to go out and sign a quarterback or anything like that, who knows? But they have a lot of money in 2026 to start signing some players. So